I'm Dr. Jackie, mom of 3, board-certified pediatrician, founder of Dove Pediatrics, and your prayerful pediatrician. It's December! I cannot believe it's already the end of 2025. If you haven't joined us yet for the 2025 Advent Devotional, it is not too late. Go ahead and click the link below to get your copy. And remember to join me here live on YouTube each day to dive a little bit deeper into that day's reading. Today, with all the festivities coming up, I wanted to talk about a topic that can be very difficult to navigate for the Christian parent. And I have to put a huge warning right here. Warning, warning, warning. Pause here if you do not want your kids to hear this. I will give you some time. Send them to a different room. Turn it off, watch it later. This is your warning. Okay, today we are talking about that dreadful time where your kids start to get older and they start to ask questions about, dun dun dun, the big red guy. Well, the guy in the big red suit. Now for me, even when my kids were small and toddlers, I struggled with whether or not to even go down this route. And I think a lot of Christian parents do as well, struggling with, first of all, I want to keep Jesus as the center of Christmas. He is the reason for the season. Do I want them to get bogged down in this man who brings presents to them and forget what Christmas is all about? And secondly, I don't want to break their hearts when they have to find out. I don't want them to stop trusting me. I don't want them to think that I lied to them. And then of course, lastly, I don't want them to lose faith in Jesus because of what I tell them about Santa. If Santa cannot be seen, but I tell you he's real, and it turns out not to be true, I don't want that to cross over to their faith in Jesus because he can't be seen, but I tell you that he's real. So those were my biggest concerns with deciding whether or not we were going to continue down a path of telling our kids about Santa. So what is a parent to do? Well, of course, it is always your decision. What you have peace about and don't have peace about, I want you to listen to that. There is a reason. Personally, we decided to introduce them to Santa. I just couldn't imagine childhood without the wonder and awe and the magic of leaving cookies for him and seeing what he brings that mom and dad would never, ever, ever buy. So this video is for the parents who have decided to go down that road, but you don't know how to navigate when they do start asking questions. Or maybe you're trying to decide whether or not to go down this road, and I'll just give you what we've done. If you've decided not to introduce Santa to your kids, that is okay. Again, it is your decision, and that's not wrong. We're just trying to do the right thing for our children. But if that's you, this one's not necessary for you. You're welcome to stick around and listen, but it's not necessarily going to be helpful. This is for the parents a little bit like me who have gone or are going to go all out on Santa. And then a little ways down the road when the kids get older and they start asking questions, what do I do? So full disclosure, I actually read an adaptation of this. I read an example of how to navigate this conversation a number of years back, and I took that, but I did modify it a little bit to be more in line with what I want to teach my children. So here is my modified take. Number 1, when your children start asking, take inventory of where their heart is and whether they are able to understand. Do they already understand what Jesus did? Do they understand spiritual things? Do they understand that just because you can't see it doesn't make it not real? If you're not sure, pray about the timing. Again, do it if you have peace. Don't do it if you don't. If you feel that they are ready to understand, keep going with the video. And if you feel that they are not ready to understand, turn the questions back around. Do you think Santa is real? What makes you feel that way? What do your friends think? There are people that don't believe in Jesus, but that doesn't mean that we don't. So you can use that in your conversation as well. Let them lead the conversation, and sometimes that will help you sort out whether or not they are ready to understand. Number 2, when you have determined that they might be ready for this conversation, here's how we've handled it. Doesn't make it right or wrong, but here's just an idea. When my oldest asked me point blank, is Santa real? and I felt she was ready to handle the answer, I told her, he is real, but not how you think. I wanted her to understand that just because you can't touch something or someone doesn't make them not real. I had previously found a book about St. Nicholas written by Voice of the Martyrs. If you haven't checked out Voice of the Martyrs yet, please do. They are worth supporting, bringing the Bible into places where Christians are persecuted. I happened to come across an opportunity to get their book for free, but it is available on Amazon. This book talks about the life of St. Nicholas, the gifts that he would bring to the poor on Christmas, and how he stood up for his faith later in life. And that helped us bridge the gap between Santa and Jesus. So when she asked me, and I told her he is, but not in the way that you think, we sat down and read the book together. And luckily she had already talked about St. Nicholas at school, so she started to roll her eyes and tell me, yeah, I already know about him. I said, but let's read the whole thing together. We talked about how St. Nicholas was a real person. We talked about what he did to spread the love of Jesus on Christmas and how that created a spirit of Christmas. And then we talked about how even though he is not alive anymore, his spirit lives on through us. And if you have a personal situation of a loved one that you have had in your life but is no longer with us, this can be a difficult conversation, but it actually can make it a little bit easier. At the time we had this conversation, my best friend had passed away within the past 6 months. So we were able to have this difficult but truthful conversation. We know that she was very much real, but she's no longer here. But there were certain things that we did with her, or that she did, that we can continue doing to keep her spirit alive through us. One of the things that we did right before she passed away is we all got our Christmas pajamas on and watched a Christmas movie in July. So I asked my daughter, what do you think is something that we could do every single year to remember her and keep her spirit of fun and Christmas alive? And she said we could keep doing Christmas in July and remember her every time. And I said, exactly. She was very much a real person, but it takes effort on our part to help keep her spirit and her memory alive. Same with Santa. St. Nicholas was a very real person, and throughout the generations, people who loved his spirit have kept it alive. And that spirit of Santa still makes us do things that we wouldn't otherwise do. I told my daughter, Mommy and Daddy may have bought gifts for Santa that we would have never bought if it was from Mommy and Daddy. So we can still do things in the spirit of Santa, fulfilling the magic and the wonder, even if he's not the one sliding down the chimney to deliver them. Santa's real, he just relies on a lot of helpers. And mommies and daddies are some of those helpers. And you can be too. Which brings me to point number 3. Invite them in to be a part of keeping his spirit alive. It will feel like the loss of a loved one when they first hear this, but reminding them that they can participate in keeping that joy and that love alive and spreading it brings them into and onto the Santa team. They actually get to be a helper, keeping it alive for their younger siblings or cousins or whoever they might need to keep it alive for. And just like Jesus, even though we can't see or touch him, we pass on his spirit by the way that we treat others and the things that we do. We can continue to spread Christmas joy for others by being a helper to the spirit of Santa. Now, this is just a side note. My kids have asked me multiple times if Santa believes in Jesus, and I always answer them that I think he does. Because number 1, St. Nicholas did believe in Jesus and he did spread his love. But number 2, Santa spreads joy by bringing gifts all around the world. And that reflects the gift that was originally given to us from heaven of Jesus Christ. How could he not believe in Jesus? Now, I pray for every single parent that is facing this conversation this year. It is definitely a hard road, and I want you to expect some tears. There might even be some grief that needs to be worked through, because this is a person that is held in such high esteem to them. It could be like losing a grandparent or a best friend. But if the timing is right, be prepared to hold them, allow them to let that emotion out, invite them onto the team, and always, always, always point them back to Jesus. Santa is fun and magical, and it's one of the best times of childhood, but he is not the reason for this season. We know that Jesus is. And if this is not your year, hold on to this for later. In all things, we know that Jesus is the true light of the world. Always redirect back to him. I pray that you are blessed. I pray that you have a peaceful, wonderful, and joyous Christmas season. And I'll see you next time as we continue building the community of Kingdom parents on a mission to raise a healthy and faithful next generation who loves Jesus. Catch you next time.